Howdy folks, TJ here. I wonder if this big old trucker hat's actually in the camera. Look at how tall this thing is. A big old trucker hat, Amiga. And you're probably saying, TJ, why are you wearing an Amiga hat? Aren't you an Atarian? And what the hell, you got a Sinclair ZX80 on the screen, and geez, you got an Atari t-shirt on. What's wrong with you? Nothing wrong with me. I love all these computers. I love that Apple that's right there, Mac Pro. I love the Sinclair line of computers. I love Atari. Technically, I'm probably an Atarian through and through because that's what I was born and raised with. And look, I've got a 520 ST in front of me because it's been recently the 40-year anniversary of them announcing it at CES in 1985. I've got a lot going on, and today I felt moved to make this video because I was sitting behind the camera over there actually watching. I just stopped the video. I'm watching this video on an AmigaOne X5000 that you can probably partially see in the camera, which is a next-gen Amiga, AmigaOne X5000, and I'm watching a Specky, the Wonder Keys, the Red Key. What the hell's the name of this movie? I haven't received my hard copy yet, but we got downloads. The Rubber Keyed Wonder. Rubber Keyed Wonder? I think that's the official name of it. I'm watching it. My wife's out for a walk, and I thought, why don't I spark this thing up, watch it on my Amiga, in front of an Atari, next to an Apple, in an Atari shirt, with an Amiga hat, and if I had Sinclair underwear, I'd be wearing it right now. Because every day, I wake up amused by something I'm going to tinker with. And before I go to bed every night, as I'm trying to go to bed, I'm reading about something I want to either buy or enjoy or tweak or upgrade or use. It's a constant cycle going in my head. And I thought I'd just make kind of a generalized video of, yeah, my day today, Sunday. I'm tinkering with a little of everything I purchase. I'm not a collector. You know, when you use the word collector, a lot of times they collect, but then they sit and collect dust. Although I've got a lot of dust in this house. Mine's collect dust, but I use them at the same time. Sure, there's probably a few things that gets less use, but I try to use everything I buy. And today, I've just been kind of in an Amiga mood. I'm not an Amigan in terms of the old Amiga. I purchased a lot of the older ones back around 2010 when I started exploring the AmigaOne. They announced the X1000 was coming out and kind of sparked my interest, and I started exploring it. So I started buying some of these older Amigas. And although they were cool and neat, I am limited room around here, and I just found that my heart is with Atari. So with the limited room I have, collect what I'm going to use in the old stuff. My heart for Amiga is the next-gen stuff. What's next-gen, you may ask? And I actually had somebody ask that the other day. What is it that you're using, the computer-wise? So AmigaOne is a PowerPC-based Amiga. They call it AmigaOne. It's made by Aeon, computer, Aeon Technologies, Aeon something. I think it's Aeon Technologies, maybe. And it's been around for a long time. 2010, they introduced the X1000. Then they came out around 2016 for sale to the end user around 2016, the X5000. I think it took the X1000, what did that come out in 2012 is when I received mine as an end user that put an order in fairly quickly. So it took a while for them to make that one. And then they took a while to make the X5000, which is pretty much their top-of-the-line computer, and maybe their last. I don't know. These hobby computer platforms take people that have a love and affection for things, knowing that the odds are highly unlikely that they're going to make money from it, but there's such a passion behind it that they put the time, and some of them put their wallets behind making things like this. This morning I was over at my computer. AmigaOne just recently finally started shipping last year to the end user, the AmigaOne A1222 Plus. That's a big handful of words in my mouth. And it's basically not as powerful as the X5000, but a very capable AmigaOne that runs the Amiga OS operating system. Amiga OS is currently up to Amiga OS 4.1. Will it ever get to 4.2? That's kind of a running joke in the world of Amiga. In 2 more weeks, they've announced it so many decades ago, and it's still not out yet. So in the world of Amiga, there's still some turmoil of who owns what, who owns the Amiga, who owns the Boing Ball, and I'm sure there's somebody saying, oh, I own it. But the thing is, none of these entities all get together and for a common good and just make more people happy, because this Amiga One's cool, but USB is topped out at 2.0, and it's kind of a, in my opinion, a flaky 2.0. Wouldn't it be sweet if we had USB 3? I think if all these entities were together, putting the money behind things instead of legalese crap, we would have USB 3, which is old now, but we would have a faster medium. Trying to copy stuff on USB from one to my X5000, you can start it and I could have a full beard by the time it's done. It's slow. The web browsing on the Amiga One line, any computer that's not a modern Mac or Linux or Windows, your web browsing experience dwindles because the amount of manpower it takes to keep up with the web browser and all the technologies that come behind it and the frequent changes, our web browsing capability is quite, I'm going to use the word decrepit. Are you going to do banking on it? No. Are you going to do Google Words? Are you going to do professional documents with your coworkers? No. Those are the type of things that you really still can't do today with an Amiga One easily or at all. My dream when I had purchased the X1000 back in 2012 was that I could have an alternative platform that had an actual motherboard built, not a Mac running a operating system like MorphOS, nothing against it, pretty cool. In fact, my X5000 has a way to run MorphOS on it, but an actual computer built specifically to run an operating system. Something about that excites me because it's not Windows, it's not Mac, it's not Linux, it is something different, and I like different. Fly fishing, for example. I fly fish without a reel called Tenkara. It's a Japanese method. It's very unique. It's a very niche of a niche, but there's thousands and thousands of people that enjoy it. So there's thousands and thousands of people that enjoy these other platforms because it's not Windows, it's not Mac, as much as I love Mac, and it's not Linux. It is its own thing. I still have a dream, and why I'm still happy to own, I forget how many years ago I did that I'm starting to fall in love again back with Amiga, because I've been like this. It's been a roller coaster. You have to like roller coasters if you like Amiga, because ever since I've been following it, I'm going to say it, it's been a shit show. It's crazy. It's a freaking box with plastic and electronics in it. But yet there's some people that own the certain rights and all this other stuff to it. And the constant quarrels get old. But I finally, in that last video, said, I don't give a shit about that anymore. Just use it for what it is. I still dream, though. And my dream is that this AmigaOne X5000 will have a web browser up to snuff just enough to where, for work, I could, not 5 hours, but, within a minute or two, connect to Google, my Google Drive, and share documents with coworkers, bring up the Word application or the Expel, a LibreOffice, for example, and be able to use it and exchange documents with coworkers. I would use this computer daily if that was the capability, because it does play movies. I've got a nice RX 580 video card in here, which is old, by the way. It's, 2018 when they introduced it? But in terms of Amiga and Amiga One, I can play a high-definition video or movie and enjoy it. I can play music. I can browse the web, a toned-down version of it. Yes, there's graphics and stuff, but anything that hammers on security or hammers on banking or anything that me and you are used to doing on a phone, if it did those things, I'd be much more happy, because I would sit over here and do... I still have the best monitor in the house, a 43-inch TV technically, but it's one that has pretty fast speeds connected up to my Amiga One that I don't use daily, but I've been using it more lately, and so much so that I started exploring the A1222 Plus this morning, saying, I've got a case for one. I've got enough to make one. I just need the motherboard. Maybe I should start saving up for that and one day buy that. Do I need a second Amiga One? Probably not, but I have a buddy, Mikey Brantley, that he buys duplicates just to have a backup in case something fails, which is smart. I actually do that for some computers that I can. So if this one bit the dust, the odds are of getting it repaired is probably small, so having a backup of it would be nice, but there's limited quantity of these things. They no longer make the model that I have. They only have a 4-core model now. Oh, by the way, yeah, even though there's 4-core or 2-core in the one that I've got here, or 4-core for the current one that they're selling, only 1 core is used, unless you use Linux. You can boot Linux off of these computers, but for Amiga, we're still stuck on 1 core. So is it behind the scenes? Is it a little Amish? Yes, but there's something about it and something about the group of people I hang out with at AmiWest, which is a yearly computer Amiga Commodore show in Sacramento. I attend most of the time, and I have some good friends I've met through that I chat with daily on IRC. I still have a love for it. I don't have a love for the older Amiga, nothing wrong with it. It's very powerful. In fact, in many cases, more powerful than my 520 ST on the operating system side. But my love is for Atari. So the old computers, the vintage computers, the real metal, I prefer the old Ataris. But for the new, Atari doesn't make an Amiga Atari One X5000. No one's ever done that. Sure, they make some of these other 68060 boards. What's the name of the little one? Starts with a W. It's one of those FPGAs. Anyway, it can run Atari, it can run Amiga, but that's not a more powerful 2-point-something gigahertz power PC that could do more real worldly things or close to it. Atari never came out with that. I would love it if they did, but they don't. So instead, I'm an AmigaOne Amiga Next Gen fan, holding out a glimmer of hope that in the future, somehow, whoever owns the Amiga OS 4, whoever owns the trademarks, whoever owns this and that somehow they all get together for a common good and put their monies together and make things that make us smile, make us buy them. Sure, you're not going to sell 1 million of them, but you're going to probably sell 1,000 or 2 or whatever, and you're going to keep some people happy. And there are still some really cool things that the Amiga OS does that even some modern OSs that are bloated, that take so much to do something, they need to look back in time and say, shit, I could do this on 1 floppy disk. Nowadays, no, they're so used to having so much memory, so much space, that they make it, kind of like me, a bit chunky. Anyway, yeah, I was just sitting over there. I'm going to continue watching my little video. I'm about 25 minutes in, and I started saying, I'm watching this on an AmigaOne X5000. It's next to my 520 ST, next to my Mac Pro 2019. I'm wearing an Atari shirt. I've got an Amiga hat on. What better Sunday can you envision? Football's on in the other room, but today, since my Raiders haven't made it to the playoffs for so long, I said, screw football. I'm going to play with my AmigaOne X5000 and be in my room of old, clunkety-dunkety computers that I enjoy using every day and making videos about for this channel. So thanks for watching. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.